The Spark, the brand new mutant faith, calls for forgiveness and understanding in all peoples, even Kane Marco. What will this mean for Nightcrawler and his team? Well, let's hop into the pages of Legion of X issue number 3 and find out together, shall we? So then, as we rejoin the book, we're reintroduced to Weaponless Sen, the Arakkii mutant sent by the Inward Watch to try and track down a wayward god of mischief who is seemingly hiding out on Krakoa in shame after running away from an Arakkii fight to the death. Sen has a lot to say about Krakoa to her boss Arbitrix, that they are a culture for whom war and combat are not their backbone, that they actually look outward into the world and see things more than just themselves. Which is actually a pretty interesting choice of words when we consider that Arbitrix herself is a giant eyeball, so maybe this is the beginning of a much bigger vision motif. Also, as we discover for Weaponless Sen, this isn't just a regular old mission. If she gets the job done and right, she'll actually be allowed to rejoin the Arakkii army. But more on that in a minute, as we discover today is actually a pretty important day on Krakoa, as Pixie is going to meet a brand new celebrity guest. Yes, that's right, Dr. Strange, everyone, has come to visit. But wait, you're all probably saying, isn't Stephen Strange dead over in his own book? Hasn't Clea become the new Sorcerer Supreme? Well, the answer to that question is of course yes. This is a fake Dr. Strange who has come to the island as all part of a bigger trap set by Nightcrawler and the rest of the Legion in an attempt to try and catch Devon Alamar, aka their evil Skinjacker who keeps stealing mutant bodies for some unknown purpose. In the end, all this promised magic power proves to be the ultimate cheese for Alamar. He takes the bait and they're able to capture his astral form. Sadly, the threat's not done yet, they still gotta find his body. And also get to the bottom of how such a loser mutant like this has suddenly gotten so much more powerful in such a short amount of time. There's also still the matter of the Skinjacker's victims though, like Kane Marco the Juggernaut. He's used to being powerful, used to being unstoppable, but ever since that thing got into his body, he's felt weak. He's truly lost, truly despondent, and at his absolute lowest, it's actually Legion who comes to try and pep him up, which is of course interesting because, well, they're uncle and nephew, but I can't remember a time they've actually interacted as such. Juggernaut questions whether or not he should leave. He also opens up that Xavier had offered to snip out the traumatic pieces of his memory so he could go back to being regular old Kane Marco. Legion, though, thinks differently. That ultimately we are who we are, the good and the bad, and as much as we might want to flip a magic switch to make ourselves feel better, that ultimately wouldn't fix anything. In fact, that's exactly what him and the rest of the Legion are trying to do when it comes to serving real reparative justice on Krakoa. Like, for example, that little Goblin mutant from the last couple issues who supposedly killed his wife. As we discover, the true story is actually a lot more complicated. As it turns out, the guy's wife was already sick with tumors, an unfortunate result of living and loving a mutant like him. They never wanted to leave each other's sides, and when she did die in her sleep, the mutant prejudice human police didn't bother to listen to this guy's side of the story, and as such, he ran off to Krakoa for sanctuary. Legion and his team think they can help him and get some actual justice served. Of course, then there's still the matter of Devon Alamar's astral form. Technically, he's broken none of Xavier's rules by skinjacking, but he's very clearly evil and something desperately needs to be done about him to make sure something like this doesn't keep happening. Now, back over with Nightcrawler and Weaponless Zsen, they are led on a tour of the Astral Sea by Blindfold, and of course, Kurt is sure to dress up like a pirate because, well, any opportunity to swashbuckle, he's gonna take it. A sea's a sea, after all. They hope that by cruising the mental highways and byways of the mutants of Krakoa, they can maybe try and zero in on this rogue god that everyone is after. Of course, navigating the Astral Sea is easier said than done. Their subconsciouses keep manifesting as things to try and stop them. We see Kirk's own faithful side, his heroic side, and especially his horny side all given form. Hey, don't worry, it's okay for him to be fantasizing about Weaponless Zsen because she already propositioned him twice in the last issue. Now, what does she fantasize about? Well, Kirk swoops on in thinking that she is being overwhelmed by visions of war and death, only to discover that no, this is actually what she fantasizes about. Arbitrix even referred to her as a war addict, and now we kind of understand what that means. Arakkii love their battle and everything, but they don't do it all the time. Now, it's right around here that the seemingly two unrelated unrelated stories about this rogue missing god and this mysterious Skinjacker actually end up crossing over. Pixie, using her dagger we saw in the last issue, manages to track down where she thinks the Skinjacker's physical form is. Only by the time she gets there, she ends up getting overwhelmed by a bunch of psychic illusions. I mean, she knows they're illusions. As she puts it, these are some real D-grade creations. Zombies, spooky toys, a giant demon saying you shall not pass, you know, stuff that only a first-year creator of illusions would make. There's also a great joke in here about how apparently when Magneto gets drunk, he does an excellent Gandalf impression, and I mean, yeah, because they were both played by the same guy in the movies. Juggernaut, we learn, actually did decide to take Legion's advice, and he is going to stay on the team. Xavier and the Skinjacker be damned. He even rushes on in and manages to save Pixie from the swarm of illusions. This battle actually ends up having major ripple effects over in the astral plane, where Nightcrawler and Weaponless Zsen realizes that whoever this Skinjacker is, they're probably being empowered by the rogue god. After all, gods need followers and all that, am I right? Unfortunately, Nightcrawler discovers much too late that his powers of teleportation don't actually work in the astral plane because, well, there is nowhere to be and nowhere to go. Before they can fully succumb to the dangers of the realm, though, they end up getting saved by the previously missing Banshee, only he too seems to have been given a major upgrade by Mother Righteous, as well as one giant flaming skull makeover that I can only feel is going to make Ghost Rider very jealous as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Legion of X issue number 3, everybody. And once again, Spurrier manages to do a lot of stuff that I really like in this series. I love everything Legion is doing trying to rehab Kane Marco. I love getting to see a deeper, more interesting look inside a character who is more often than not shown to be just big dumb muscle and nothing more. This series is, after all, at its best when it's dealing with mature, heady themes about faith and forgiveness and righteousness and how all this goes into building a functioning society. Honestly, I would much rather read the characters waxing poetic than actually going through the Astral Sea trying to solve a big missing god problem. Not to say that stuff isn't good, I just like what I like. In fact, in many ways, you could argue that what the Legion is trying to do to make Krakoa a more happy, more livable place is just as much an act of open rebellion as anything Scott is doing over in the X-Men book, and that's why it's cool. Overall, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, you know, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.